Hey students, this is the Basics for Coding in Scratch. We're going to take a basic tour first of the Scratch coding platform, and you can see when you click the link and it opens up, this is what it will look like, and we're just going to click and close the tutorials they offer. Over on the left, you see what I call the coding drawers. You can see the code blocks and then the different categories for the different code blocks that they have. Available in Scratch, you've got quite a few different kinds of coding blocks to choose from. Over on the right, you can see the area where you run your code and test it. The green flag is the go, the red stop sign is the stop. That it runs your code and that stops your code. And then down here in the lower right, you have the area for your sprites. Now, the first code blocks that we use are going to make this sprite move. Over on the left, again, you can see we are going to start with the events, and we are going to pull out the sprite that when you click the green flag, it runs the code. There you are. And what we want to do is make this sprite move around. So we are going to look for some other code blocks that are going to make that happen. Here we are in some movement, and you can see one of the first ones that we have is just going to make the sprite move a given number of steps. Click the green flag, and there it goes. It moved 10 steps, and you can see it didn't move a ton. Every time I click, it moves. I'm going to stop the code. I'm going to change the number because at 10, it just didn't move very much. I'm going to increase the number, and then when we click the green flag, we'll see what happens. Now it's moving more. I'm going to move my sprite back. Now, that was moving to the right, and it was moving side to side on the x-axis. Now, I want to be able to move it in multiple directions, so I'm going to go down in the control blocks, and I'm going to grab a loop. A loop is when it makes the code repeat, and this one says forever. It is a forever loop, so as long as I click that green flag, that sprite is forever going to do what I tell it to do, and I'm going to give it a condition. That is the if and then block. Now I'm going to scroll down to what I usually call the logic section, and this is where it will say when I press a certain key, it is going to move to the right. So I'm going to press the right arrow, and then it is going to move to the right the certain number of steps that I tell it to. So let's test it and see if this works. I'm going to click the green flag, and then I'm going to press the arrow key on my keyboard, and there it goes. Now I'm going to copy this by right-clicking and duplicating the block, and then I'm going to put it underneath, and I'm going to change it to the left arrow key. And then I'm going to have to click in that number, and instead of 10, I'm going to type in -10. So now the negative moves left, positive moves right on the x-axis. And those move blocks, they default to the x-axis. Now, if I want to move up and down, change my selection to the up arrow in the menu, I'm going to need to grab a different block because the move blocks default on the x-axis. I need the y-axis, so I'm going to get a y-axis block. I'm going to delete that other one that I used, and I am going to test it out. I pressed the up arrow with a -10. I'm going to change that to 10. There it goes. And I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to change my menu to the down arrow, and I'm going to change the number to negative. Now you can see I can move with the arrow keys, move that cat in all directions. Now we're going to add another sprite so that our cat will have something to collect in our game for points. I'm going to use that little menu down in the right corner, and you can see there are a ton of sprites in Scratch that you can choose from. You can got different categories. You can just click and search, or you can use the search box. And if I'm a cat, I think what I want to collect, cats want to chase a mouse. So that's what my game is going to do. The cat is going to chase the mouse, and I can click and drag and put that mouse anywhere I want. Now that I've selected the mouse, in the lower right, the code I now create is going to go with the cat. So I want go with the mouse. And so I want the mouse to be able to do something, and I want it to happen forever. And I'm going to give that a condition. And that condition is also going to grab one of those blue blocks that give the condition. And in this case, it is when the mouse touches the cat. And in this case, the cat is called Sprite 1, and you can see its name in the lower right. If the mouse touches Sprite 1, then something's going to happen. And what's going to happen is the mouse is going to move to another random location. Let's see if it works. Yep, as soon as I touch, the mouse moves somewhere else on the screen. So now we got that working. Now we're going to add a variable. Remember, that was in our vocab. A variable is a placeholder in the program for a value that changes. In this case, it is the score. So we're going to click on the variable drawer of code blocks, and we're going to create a variable. And this variable is going to be called score. So we're going to click OK and check it out. Scratch has created a score box in the upper left, and it's got a place for the score. So we're going to grab a variable block to start. We're going to set the score. Notice that menu changed it to 0. We start the game with the score set at 0. Now we're going to get a change variable block, change the menu to our variable score, and we're going to change it by 1. So each time that the cat touches the mouse, the score changes by 1. And check the score out. You can see it's changing along with the cat. So there you go.